Let me turn now to Mr. Rehman Chishti, Member of Parliament, former UK Special Envoy, Freedom of Religion. Sir.
Thank you. Friends, colleagues, distinguished guests, it is a real pleasure to be here with you today at the United Nations to look at this important debate hosted by the World Muslim League in partnership with UNAOC. Your Excellency, Mr. Secretary-General, Sheikh Muhammad Al-Issa, thank you so very much for all that you have done and that you will continue to do in bringing people together for the common good from the East and the West. I speak here today as a Member of Parliament and as the United Kingdom's former Special Envoy for freedom of religion or belief. And this involved working very closely in partnership with friends around the world in helping promote freedom of religion or belief. The United Kingdom and the United States helped set up the International Alliance of Like-Minded Countries, 28 countries, to help improve religious freedom for all. And we saw many challenges in the East and in the West during COVID-19 in how fellow human beings were treated and discriminated on the basis of their faith. And therefore, I think it is important that countries around the world do look at advocating for having ambassadors to promote international freedom of religion or belief. As today's topic is about building bridges between the East and the West, I was born in Pakistan. I came to the United Kingdom at the age of 6, to Gillingham, a constituency, a district which I now represent, where my father was an imam. And where the majority population of the district is Christian, they elected me as their Member of Parliament to serve them. That to me shows acceptance. And as Chief Rabbi Shiner previously said, it's about acceptance and mutual acceptance. And that shows to me mutual acceptance, respect, and inclusivity, which is what I want to see for all citizens around the world, and what I think this forum can do by each and every one of us taking those steps to make our world a better place for all. According to the Pew Research, 84% of the world's population identify themselves with one faith or another. And therefore, if you don't understand faith, it becomes even harder to understand the world. Religious freedom is not only a basic right, but it's also a national security imperative which helps make and build cohesive societies. Today we are seeing women in Afghanistan who are being denied the full rights of education in the name of Islam by the Taliban. That is objectively and categorically a falsehood. This is an area where faith leaders working together can challenge this. And Your Excellency, the Charter of Mecca and its 30 principles helps us deliver that. Religious literacy training is critical to ensure that those who represent us, whether that be diplomats or faith leaders, have the appropriate toolkit to challenge falsehoods and to bring people together for the common good. The United Kingdom government previously accepted the Bishop of Truro's report, 22 different specific recommendations to advance international religious freedom. And recommendation 11 of that report called for the implementation of religious literacy training for UK diplomats before they are deployed to posts. An important toolkit in building bridges between the East and the West is the Charter of Mecca in setting out 30 clear principles. And now let me set out some of those principles and how that links to building bridges between the East and the West. Principle 1 of the Charter talks about all people worldwide are equal under God. And as a policymaker, and as policymakers, this should always be at the forefront of our mind. As challenges arise, as war or disaster strikes, how do we ensure that we support those in danger in a manner which does not lead to intolerance, but provides compassion and fairness? When we look at one of the big issues of our time at the moment, the treatment of refugees, every word has a meaning, as Rabbi Shiner said, and every one of us, policymakers, faith leaders, individual citizens, have a responsibility to choose our words with care. And as we look at some of those important issues of the day, that becomes absolutely critical. As a Muslim in the United Kingdom, I note an increase in Islamophobia in Europe. Some European politicians have promoted an anti-Muslim agenda, asserting that halal food contributes to societal divisions undermines animal welfare, and seeks to Islamicize Western countries. That is wrong. Also in Europe, I note the comments of the Chief Rabbi Pinchas Goldsmith that anti-Semitism poses an existential threat to the Jewish community. Numerous European countries have implemented bans on halal and kosher food slaughter practices, key parts of the Muslim and the Jewish faith. Principle 9 of the Charter of Mecca holds that we should advance laws to deter promotion of hatred, the instigation of violence and terrorism, or clash of civilizations which foster religious and ethnic disputes. It was absolutely wonderful to hear His Excellency, the Secretary General, the President of the United Nations General Assembly, who said, and we all heard him to say, that the United Nations General Assembly will be looking at how we address online hate, because online hate leads to incitement, then violence against certain individuals of different backgrounds and different faiths. The United Kingdom government recently passed laws to regulate online hate content, speech, to eliminate online harms. And this covered the question of individuals or bad actors anonymously targeting those of different faiths or belief, helping to fuel racism, Islamophobia, and anti-Semitism. The United Kingdom government has put that legislation in place. It may not be perfect, but it takes certain steps, which I think we can work with fellow citizens and countries around the world. And I'm delighted to hear what Mr. President from the General Assembly said the United Nations is looking to do. As policymakers, we must make sure the internet use is reasonable, is responsible, and is respectful to all. And governments are critical to that. If I may just touch on Principle 17, which says the need for respecting the personal freedoms of others. Instances such as the burning of the Holy Quran in Sweden display how intolerance and hate creates social divisions, all in the name of personal freedom. As policymakers, we should ensure against the burning of any religious books. And to quote His Holiness Pope Francis, one cannot provoke, one cannot insult other people's faith, one cannot make fun of other people's faith. It is our duty as citizens of the world and faith leaders to promote respect, acceptance, mutual acceptance of each other and their beliefs. And to conclude, research in the United Kingdom from the Wolf Institute found that interfaith initiatives suffer. They suffer due to failure to engage political and social leaders. Violence against people of faith is not just a religious, but a social issue. Therefore, policymakers are crucial in this work. And it is absolutely crucial that NGOs, multilateral organizations, policymakers, faith leaders, and governments to come together to make our world a better place. And I end with a quote from Edmund Burke. The only thing necessary for triumph of evil is for good men and women to do nothing. And with that, I say to each and every one of you here today, thank you for all that you do, the steps that you take, because each and every one of us can take that step to make this world a better place and bring together the East and the West. We need international leadership. And to you, Mr. Secretary General, you have shown that international leadership. Thank you so very much for giving me the opportunity to be here with you today.
Thank you.